So, Rodney Hayden, hi, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Nice to finally meet you. I'm a huge fan of you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out tonight.
You're welcome. For those, for the people who listen and you still don't know you, could you just introduce yourself in a few words?
Rodney Hayden from a small town named Pleasanton, Texas, which is in the southern part of Texas, and I grew up there. I lived in Austin for a few years, and then 2 years in Nashville, Tennessee, and now I'm back in San Antonio, Texas, where I live now, and luckily get to travel around playing music and do this full time. So I'm thankful for it.
You're a lucky man.
Yeah.
Rodney, could you tell us a little more about your style in country music? Where does all your influences and inspiration come from? What is it all about?
My big influences are when I first started playing. What made me want to start playing music was the first time I heard Hank Williams Sr. and Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard and Waylon Jennings and all of the George Jones, all the great old country stuff. And as I got older, I was also influenced by a lot of guys, a lot of singers-songwriters from Texas, Robert Earl Keen and Willie Nelson and different guys like that. So I'm big influence by a lot of the old country. And my inspiration for songwriting usually comes from traveling around, and in fact, this year we'll be recording a new CD, and one of the songs that's on it is called Last Train to Rome, and I wrote it at the Paris train station. I was waiting for the last train of the night to Rome, and it's a really cool song, and so it's the inspiration always comes from being on the road and meeting so many people and hearing so many different stories that I think that all comes out in my music.
How will you describe your style, your country style? What does it mean to you?
My style?
Yeah.
Mine's a pretty traditional country, and for me that's what I was influenced by, and I there's a lot of more pop type country nowadays, but I've always I don't know, I feel like Del Watson and Roger Wallace, and there's the Derailers, and there's certain bands that are and I try to be in that group where carry on the older traditional country, and so that it doesn't just fade away, because it would if people aren't still playing it, even though it's not the most popular music all the time. It's I think it affects people more emotionally, the traditional country, because it's more real to life, and the stories and all of that. I think people get more out of it.
What is the more exciting for you, Rodney? Is it writing song, playing live in front of an audience as tonight, or recording a new album?
For me, it's what I enjoy the most is playing live, because I get to travel around and like meeting y'all. First time we've met, so that's I love meeting new people, and having a beer and sitting and talking and getting to know somebody is always fun, and seeing new places, and then getting on stage and playing for people that are there to hear you is always a big. It's exciting, and it's I enjoy that the most. The songwriting, it's not necessarily that I love doing it. It's I don't know. It's sort of my. It just sort of comes out. I have to do it, and I don't know why. I write songs, and so I mean I enjoy everything about it. But the playing live is definitely that's that's the best for me.
Nowadays, it's essential for a country music artist to come abroad, in France, especially in France, but in Europe. At the time where Sugarland just started their European tour this last week, on Tuesday they were in Paris. We were lucky enough to go to the concert. Soon there will be Taylor Swift and Kate Joben.
Yeah.
There is I think they come in Germany or Swiss.
Oh, wow.
You are like an exception, in fact. You are the one who was there before them. Do you think you could, you have the lead over everybody, you can show them the way or explain it something? You're lucky.
I don't know. I've had, there's a lot of bands that I'm friends with at home that ask about that a lot. In fact, I'm pretty good friends with Dirk Bentley and Gary Allen, and they've both asked me a lot of questions about our touring over here. And I think Dirk's came over here recently.
Last year.
Yeah.
I was there.
Did you?
Yes.
But I feel very lucky to get to. I would have never dreamt when I was first started playing that I would have gotten to travel as much as I have, and I love coming to all over Europe, but especially France. I was just here 2 months ago, and now I'm back, and I was here last year, and
Is it a champagne?
Yeah, and so it's it's really good. Hopefully we can continue to keep coming over here as much as we have, and I feel lucky that we get to do it.
Could you tell us if the band that will play with you tonight is actually the same that the one you have in Texas?
It's this band tonight is actually all from France, and they played with me. The first time was last May 2008. I played a few shows in France, and they played with me, and they're really, really great, and we all got along very well. And so this time we're playing a couple of shows together again. I don't know about the next time I come if it'll be with this band from France, or I have a band in Texas that I travel around the United States with, and it's always the same band every show. And we've been together. The guitar player's played with me for 9 years, and the rest of them have been with me for almost 3. And it's a great band, so hopefully I'll be able to bring them over again. And although this band tonight is really great players as well.
As you are lucky enough to be able to sing in France, in Europe, but also in the States, could you tell us, is there any big differences between American public and French one?
Yeah, there's when people come out to the show especially in Texas, it's a pretty wild. I mean, it gets pretty wild, and a lot of drinking and crazy people, and it's fun, but it's sometimes it gets a little too wild because you're playing and you're trying to get people to listen to your songs, but it's fun. And here I noticed the last few times we've had a lot of the crowd that just stands near the stage and really listens, and that always makes you feel good. And then of course you have a lot of people dancing at all the shows. So there's a few differences, but all in all, it's just people coming out that enjoy country music, and so it's sort of the same.
You had played at so many events. Like Illinois, Texas, Austin City Limits, just Houston, Australia.
Yeah.
It's huge, so many mythical places. It's amazing. The list goes on and on. What is the place for you that you like the most?
For me, the place that I play a lot, regularly, that like the most is Green Hall in New Braunfels, and it's the oldest dance hall in Texas, and there's a lot of history there, and it's a really, really great venue, and everybody's played there. But the bigger shows, I don't know, it's like you said, they're all, I got to play Willie Nelson's 4th of July picnic, which is a huge event in Texas, and there's 20,000 people or so there, and at the end of the night they do a finale song, and they had a lot of the artists on stage with Willie singing "Will the Circle Be Unbroken," and I got to stand at the center microphone right next to Willie Nelson and sing it with him. That was one of the biggest highlights. And then this last, just before I came here, playing with at the Astrodome, and it was Alan Jackson was playing the rodeo that night, and we were able to play with him. And it was 54,000 people. It was really crazy. But so I don't know. There's like you said, there's so many big shows that I've been lucky enough to be a part of that they all, I'm just happy that I get to do all of them.
You just told me.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your last album, in fact, named What's World. What does it mean to you? What's the story behind this album?
It's all the songs that I wrote, and the biggest thing on this album is it's the first time that I recorded with my own band. So it's what you hear on the CD is exactly what we sound like live, because it's the guys that I play with every night, and I think that makes a big difference. And it was special for me because it was their first time to ever get to record in the studio. They were very excited about it, and then the songs. There's a few real personal songs. There's a song about my mother, and there's a song called Waltz With Me that I wrote about the first time I met my wife. And so it's a real personal album all the way around, from recording with my band to the songs that I wrote on it.
Okay. Do you have a favorite song?
My favorite song is probably Waltz With Me, or it's turned out to be lately a song called Huntsville, which is, there's a city in Texas named Huntsville, is where the state penitentiary, the state jail is at, and I wrote this song about it, and I didn't think much of it until, in fact, I wasn't even playing it at the shows, and people started requesting it, and I've gotten to play it more, and then it just recently won an award for Song of the Year from a country website in America that over 200,000 people voted for the award, and it won against Trisha Yearwood and Sugarland, and so it really was surprising. But so yeah, it's all, yeah.
I heard that you have formed a label named I call it Palomino Records. Could you tell us a little more about it?
Yeah, it's I formed my own record label because I'd had 2 record deals in the past, and they were both they were okay, but just there wasn't a lot of freedom as an artist. I mean, I'm proud of my first 2 albums, and I got to choose most of the songs, and I mean there was some freedom, but the last 2 I've been able to record whenever I wanted, wherever I wanted, and for instance, we just did 12 Ounce World that came out this last year, and when I get back to Texas, I'm going to do an East Coast tour for 3 weeks, and then we're going to go back in the studio and start working on another album already, which if I was on a bigger label, there's no way that would happen, but running my own record label, I can do whatever I want. So, and it's worked out really well, and I think with the way country music is nowadays, with so much digitally on the internet and everything, that's for an artist like me, it's actually it works better. Yeah.
I was stuck when I listened These Arms, so the song from the last album, Down the Road, with Sonny Sweeney. How this duo was originally formed? Was it your idea? Or
Yeah, I'm real good friends with Sonny Sweeney, and I have been for. I've actually been friends with Sonny since before she was playing music, and I knew her husband. I've known him for 10 years or so, and so I knew Sonny through him, and she started playing, and she's really great, and we were in the studio. And I recorded the song, and then the engineer that was, who also played steel guitar on the album, named Tommy Dedamore, he said, this song would be really great as a duet. And so I called Sonny and said, could you, what are you doing later today? Could you come in and sing on this? And she drove over and sang on it, and that was it. It just kind of...
A huge song. Is there any hope that in the future you will sing with her again, or it will just for one time?
Yeah, I think we are. We talked about doing one on her next album, which she's fixing to record. But I don't know if I haven't talked to her in the last month, so I don't know if we're going to do that or not. But on my next album, I've got a song that she and I wrote together. We wrote it for that. We wrote it as a duet for us. So I'm sure we'll do more together again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since a few years in France, there are some bands or singers who try to sing country music. As you're a professional, the name is Annabelle or Marienko, you are a professional. Could you give them some advice, a piece of advice, tell them something?
Yeah, I think the advice that I received when I first started was that it sounds very simple, but the truth is to play as much as you possibly can live. It's good to sit around at home and practice and do that, but to get out and play live in front of people is a really, even if it's in front of one bartender, because I've played, when I first started out, it was very difficult for me to make money, or most of the time I played for nothing, and would in fact would lose money. My band and I would go out and play these shows, and I would pay them, and I wouldn't be getting paid for the show, which was real difficult, but it's paid off because I know I learned a lot by playing in these bars for 5 people are there, and I don't know, it's important just to get out and play as much as you can.
Okay. We have a tradition in Country Music Planet, CMP Radio. When we interview someone, we ask him to tell us what you think about another artist. I will ask you, what do you think about Miranda Lambert?
Miranda Lambert. I like Miranda Lambert, partly because when I first started playing music, she was playing around Texas at the time, and we played some shows together, and she was always real nice. I would have never dreamt that back then that she would have became such a huge artist, and but I think she's good for country music because she's a female that writes her own songs, and she's different than a lot of the other female artists that are out there. And then, just personally, I haven't seen her in the last year, but I've known her for a long time. She's a really down-to-earth, good person. So yeah, I say thumbs up for Miranda.
Okay. As we promote the country music in France, could you say a few words to your French fans?
Yeah, I'd love to say thank you for first for you guys for even coming and wanting to interview me, and yeah, and you know, the people that come to the shows, and we sell a lot of CDs on our website to in people in France, and I'm just very appreciative and thankful for that, and I hope that we get to continue coming here for years and years and meet more people from France, and that's it. And I want to tell them that anytime I'm playing, to make sure, if you can, if it's close enough, come to a show and be sure and come up and say hello. Thank you. Hey, thank you.